Embracing imperfection and being the success you want to be. So what we're going to cover is the introduction. What is perfection? Why do we think we need to be perfect? Letting go of perfection. Develop your lacking talent to be successful in what you do. Learning to be happy with who you are. Learn to ignore others' opinions of you. And moving on by embracing imperfection. I was baptised in the year 2000. I, along with my 2 young children. It was a beautiful experience, very special, and the first time I'd stood in front of a crowd that was completely focused on me and what was going to come out of my mouth. I'd stood up in front of people at school for plays. I was most often the narrator. I spoke better than I acted, and I was okay with that. I'd also played various musical instruments in different school groups and orchestras. The glockenspiel, recorders and the big bowl brass euphonium. I got nervous, but it was okay. We were all in it together. We practiced often, and as long as we all did our best during the performance, then it would all be okay. Practice makes perfect, right? Speaking in front of that audience after my baptism was equally as nerve-wracking as all those times at school. But despite all my worries and anxiety about making a mistake, saying something stupid, freezing, not being able to say anything at all, thinking whether they'll laugh at me, will I look right, sound right, be understood, this has to be perfect. Despite all of this, and with no safety net of an orchestra or scripted play as my guide, I delivered my speech. I wasn't perfect. I stumbled on words, got emotional, and fumbled my way through, or at least that's what it felt like to me. A far cry from those that spoke each week in church, and in my eyes, perfectly. I didn't get booed or laughed off the stage. People politely listened. They looked right at me and did not seem fazed by my exposed imperfections. The lesson learned? Scared, do it anyway. Not perfect yet. You'll be waiting a long time for perfect. I would not be doing this now if I thought you had to be perfect first. Just do it with all the imperfections. Trying your best is perfectly good enough. My mum always said that to me growing up. Just do your best. That's all we ask. So how do you embrace imperfection when the world demands perfection? So realise there is no such thing as perfection. We live in a world that insists we need to be a certain size and weight. Men need to be strong and powerful. You must be the perfect parent to raise responsible kids, and businesses must never make mistakes. So how does a square peg fit into a round hole? We really do live in an imperfect world. Trying to attain perfection will only lead to a life of frustration and high-level stress. It can be exhausting and unrelenting, pursuing the messages in our head, saying never good enough, or what will people think. In reality, we know there is no such thing as perfect, yet we spend an incredible amount of time and energy trying to be perfect for everyone. We must remember that perfection will not protect us. We get sucked into perfection because we believe perfection will protect us. If we look perfect, act perfect, and live perfect, we'll avoid the pain of judgment, shame, and blame. Or so we think. Perfection makes us believe we will be worthy of love and belonging. That need to be worthy often makes us feel like we are never thin, beautiful, smart, extraordinary, talented, popular, promoted, admired, and or accomplished enough. Stop working your backside off to be perfect. We often feel guilty if we aren't working hard enough. You're constantly telling yourself that if you fail to be perfect, you're a bad person, a letdown. If you let your kids down, you're not perfect. If you don't do the right thing, you're a bad person. If you fail at something, you're unworthy. If you don't do something perfectly, people won't like you. All these guilty thoughts lead to blaming and feeling inadequate. So we must be authentic. The truth is, people are actually drawn to others who are real and down to earth. We love authenticity, knowing life is messy and imperfect. If we want to see authenticity in others, then why can't we embrace our own imperfections and just be good enough? And remember, perfection restricts our freedoms. Think about what the great American philosopher William James said about a perfect world. Freedom in a world already perfect could only mean freedom to be worse, and who could be so insane as to wish that? Surely the only possibility that one can rationally claim is the possibility that things may be better. This simply means in a perfect world we don't have the freedom to achieve anything positive because it's already been achieved. In an imperfect world you can always make things better. In this short guide you will learn what perfection is and why we should be embracing imperfection instead. You'll discover why you think you need to be perfect and how you can let go of perfectionism. You'll learn how to be happy with whom you are and the fun of letting go of others' opinions. So, what is perfection? What does perfection even mean? Is it something that really exists? Let's take a look at the official definition. The definition of perfection is the condition, state or quality of being free or as free as possible from all flaws or defects, or it's the action of process of improving something until it is faultless or as faultless as possible. Perfectionism isn't the same as doing your best. Striving to do your best is about growth and healthy achievement, whereas perfectionism is more like a shield we think will protect us from getting hurt or being made fun of. We live in a society that stresses unattainable expectations on every aspect of our lives, from how much we should weigh, to what we should eat, to how we should look, to how we should be raising our kids, and even to what technology we should have in our homes. Perfectionism is a constant striving to be and do better, the sense that you or your circumstances are unacceptable as they are. It's a compulsion to always do more so you can be accepted, loved, and to belong. Thinking you need to be perfect leaves you frozen because you never really reach being perfect. Imperfection then is accepting yourself and the situation as it is. It means making mistakes, not always having the perfect dress or having a few extra pounds on. It means liking whom you are while striving to just do your best. So how do you learn to embrace imperfection and recognise we are enough the way we are? We need to figure out why we are afraid to let our true selves be seen and why we're afraid of what other people think. Before we can embrace imperfection, we must first determine why we think we need to be perfect. As we've seen, trying to be perfect is an unattainable goal. So why do we think we need to be perfect if it's not possible to do? After all, aren't we just creating more stress and heartache when we can't achieve it? After studying the subject for a while, here's what I've learned. We have a deep sense of wanting to belong and to be loved. As humans, we're biologically, physically and spiritually wired to love and be loved and to belong to the group. When we don't fulfill those needs, we fall apart, get sick or hurt others. I lived my whole life in search of love and acceptance. Growing up, I was bullied often, mostly for how I looked. I was very skinny and tall and gangly for my age, and I had enormous buck teeth. I got ridiculed and laughed at. When I hit adolescence, my body changed, but I still had feelings of being a misfit. I was constantly hating on myself. I thought if I could just look a certain way, have that perfect face and body, everyone would like me. I'll be worthy when? When never comes. We have a hard time believing we are worthy the way we are, right this minute. We have a long list of prerequisites to being worthy. I'll be worthy when I lose 20 pounds, when I get pregnant, when I get or stay sober, when everyone else thinks I'm a good parent, when my marriage works out, when I am offered a promotion, when my parents finally approve of me, when I can do it all and look like I'm not even trying, and so on. Pleasing others pleases people. We often feel we need to be perfect to please other people. If we lose the weight, then it will please our partner. If you do well in school, achieve good grades, it will please your teachers and parents. Ever since I was little, I had a need to please other people. I had to make good grades and be a good girl to please my parents, so they would love me. I had to play a certain way or talk a certain way, so the other kids would like me. I craved others' approval. If I didn't get it, my self-esteem plummeted. It got to the point that I did things that weren't in alignment with who I really was. I'd have a hard time telling others no when they wanted me to do something for them, even when I didn't have time or any interest in doing it. Fear of being made fun of. We crave approval and don't want to be the one that others bully and make fun of. If we are perfect, others won't have a reason to laugh at us. These basic emotional needs are a part of every human. These needs may not have been met in childhood, or you may have learned love was conditional on how you performed or what you did for others. You may strive to always be perfect to earn another person's love or approval. Trying to be perfect or always do something in a perfect way is impossible. It can lead to both anxiety and depression, or even paralysis from the fear of not being perfect. So letting go of perfection. As you've seen, perfection isn't something anyone can achieve. The trick is to learn to let go of it and to live a happy life, accepting yourself as you are. Here are 8 more reasons why you should let it go. It frees up your time. When you're not obsessing about making your body perfect or your project perfect, you have more time to spend on other projects or passions. You'll feel better. You'll have less stress, which can cause depression, insomnia, and other physical problems like weight gain and high blood pressure. You'll enjoy life more. Once you stop obsessing, you begin to enjoy life more, and the people around you will be happier. It's okay to make mistakes. Letting go of perfection lets you make mistakes. It lets you get past the worry and fear that it won't be perfect. You'll quickly realise life isn't perfect. You'll see the universe is chaotic. You can't control the weather, nor what illness strikes you down at the worst possible time. Control what you can and just accept the rest. Imperfection promotes growth. Accepting imperfection allows you to grow. Trying to be perfect keeps you stagnant. Perfection in imperfection. You become more aware of what near perfection looks like. You'll see it in the beauty of someone's smile or the laughter from a simple mistake that doesn't matter. You'll begin to practice self-compassion. You start to accept yourself as the way you are. Your flaws are what make you unique. Learn what holds you back. Embracing imperfection allows you to examine your fears of failure or of making mistakes and why they are holding you back. It lets you see what is really behind those fears. So, there's a 3-step examination of what is causing your fear. It's one I use. It goes something like this. Number 1, name the basic fear. So, for example, for me, fear of failing. 2, what's behind that fear? Keep narrowing it down until you get to the core of the fear. Are you afraid of being laughed at, not being liked? Just remember, we aren't in a high school popularity contest. Our life is ours to be lived however we want. What would happen if? Step 3. What would happen if you failed? What would happen? Would it cause a major catastrophe or health problem? What's the worst that could happen? Is there anything that can be done to reduce the risk of that happening? And 3 ways that might help you let go of perfection is number 1, change any negative self-talk. Critical self-talk only reinforces perfectionism. Step 2, practice self-compassion. Being compassionate with yourself helps you accept you will make mistakes and to learn from them. Step 3, examine goals and expectations. Are they attainable? If not, change them or break them down into smaller steps if you need to. Letting go of perfection and embracing imperfection allows you to really become a happier person. You become free to pursue what you want to make your life successful, whether that's in your profession, your relationships, as a parent or as a person. So, develop your lacking skills and talent. We all want to be successful at what we pursue. The world screams at us to try harder, achieve more, make no mistakes. We must produce perfection in order to be successful, but is that a reality? I believe we can be successful in whatever we pursue without having to work harder or even be perfect. In order to pursue what is meaningful, we have to let go of perfection. We all have gifts and talents. By cultivating these gifts and sharing them with the world, you get a sense of meaning and purpose. The trick is to find what is right for you. We can all develop necessary skills to suit what we want to do. One of the best ways to be successful in what you pursue is to develop the talents you are lacking for what you want to do. First, ask who you need to be to become successful. What habits, talents or behaviours do you need to begin doing? What good habits and skills or behaviours do you need to practice more? What do you need to stop doing? Figure out what's right for you. Begin digging deeper into what you really want and how you want success to look. Then start making the changes needed to get there. For instance, successful people don't sit around and watch television all day. They take massive action in what they want to pursue. They change habits that don't fit in with what they want. They develop the skills and talents they need to help them change and grow. To be successful, do not compare yourself to others. Concentrate on your own strengths. Go online and take a Briggs-Myers test or some other personality test to help you discover and identify your unique talents. Your talent can be something you love to do or are good at. Develop your talent. Practice, take classes, seek help, read books, whatever you need to do to build your talent to its best. Want to play golf like Tiger Woods? Practice. Want to write like Stephen King? Practice. Surround yourself with those that can. If you have a weakness you know you can't improve, partner with others who can do it. Learn from failures. Reflect on those things that didn't work out and ask yourself what could be done to prevent or change the outcome if it was to happen again. This will keep you motivated to continuing to improve on your skills and talents. Talent is important in all areas of your life. The kind of talent you have affects how you succeed in every area of your life. For example, parents with a little bit of patience with children can develop this talent to be a very patient and understanding boss. Success in what you pursue can be found by the talents and skills you nurture. Following what is meaningful to you is the key. If you love writing but lack the talent to string a few words together, you can develop the skill, take a class and practice. In order to live a happy life, you have to learn to be happy with who you are. You aren't perfect, nobody is. So how do you become happy with how you are right now? Understand you are complete as you are. You don't need to change how you look, act or feel to be happy. I, for a very long time, felt I was too overweight to go swimming. I loved the water but rarely went because I was so self-conscious. I finally learned, after just watching those around me one day, that everyone was so different. Some were bigger than me, some smaller. All of them just got on with what they were doing, swimming. My body is mine, it is unique. I finally plucked up the courage to go to the pool and just get swimming. Forgive yourself. Have there been times in your life when you felt you let yourself down? It can be hard, but you need to forgive yourself for your mistakes. It's essential for being able to move forward with a positive outlook on life. There have been times in my life where I've messed up big time. I would carry around the guilt for hurting others or myself for years. These times can keep me in a dark and depressing place for a long time. After much soul searching and education, I began forgiving myself for the times I messed up. It's been freeing, like a heavy weight lifted off my shoulders. Get to know yourself. Get in touch with what truly makes you happy. Live your passions every day. Spend a little time doing something you enjoy every day. This can have a big impact on how you feel. Being mindful of eating healthy and exercising can also go a long way in improving how you feel. At one time a few years ago, I was overwhelmed with what was happening in my life. I'd spend all my time working or taking care of someone else. I rarely did things that brought me joy. I didn't even know who I was anymore. Finally, I reached a point when I knew things had to change. I began rediscovering what brought me joy, and now I make sure I take those few minutes, and often more, at least every day, to enjoy what makes me happy. Learn to say no. Many people have trouble saying no to people, situations and events. When you don't say no often enough, you can become overwhelmed and your life can become out of balance. Saying no is essential for being able to focus on what you believe in, your values, and what is important to you. Ask yourself questions. Take yourself on a date and ask the questions you really want to know about yourself. It's okay to be a chatterbox. No one else is listening to your private conversation. Get in tune with your inner happy. It's okay to take time away from everyone else to make yourself happy. Ask yourself, what would you love to do if you weren't afraid of what others would say, or of failing, or of making a mistake? When you are happy with whom you are, flaws and all, you are less likely to want everything to be perfect. You're happy making mistakes and happier about others making theirs. You're happier with the way you look and the situation you're in. Many people live their lives based on what other people think of them. They go out of their way to make others happy. These people pleasers often have low self-esteem. All of their actions or choices they make are based on what others think or expect from them. Don't get me wrong, it's okay to be kind, helpful and supportive, but when it becomes an unhealthy way of life, it can do more harm to your self-esteem than good. Excessive people-pleasing means you are always putting other people's needs and wants before your own. You neglect your own needs and lose the sense of who you are. You might find it hard to speak up for yourself or to say no if you're a people-pleaser. You find it difficult to set boundaries, making it easy for others to take advantage of you. You become overwhelmed and burnt out trying to do everything yourself. The good news is you can stop being a people-pleaser. Realise this is your life. Recognise that your self-worth doesn't depend on the approval of other people. It's called self-worth for a reason. It's your perception of yourself and depends on your own opinions. Forget about those who dislike you. Realise you won't ever be able to please everyone. People won't notice or care as much as you think they do. Negative comments are about them. You can't control what others think. You can't change someone else's thoughts and you can't force someone to be happy by your actions. The only one you can control is you. Analyse what matters in your life. Look after your own needs. Make choices that are good for you, not what's expected. Practice self-care and believe it's essential for your well-being. Practice being assertive and learn to say no. Set healthy boundaries and stick to them. Do a worst case scenario. What would happen if someone's opinion was bad? Would you never have any friends or be loved? Address your insecurities and the underlying issues. If you're tired of trying to please everyone else and worrying about what their opinion of you is, follow those tips for breaking the habit. It will require effort and persistence, but when you stop being a people pleaser, you'll notice improvements in the quality of your life. By embracing imperfection. It all boils down to this. Trying to be perfect is tiring. It puts you in a position of paralysis to move forward. It holds you back while everyone else moves on. Instead, when you embrace imperfection, you can be successful and happy. So what do we do next? We let go of trying to be perfect. That's you nor your circumstances or the people in your life need to be perfect in order to be acceptable. In fact, people as a general rule like real. Real means mistakes, flaws, and imperfection. Remember the story I told you at the beginning of this guide? I was almost paralysed with fear that I wouldn't be able to speak. What finally made the difference was realising that all I was sharing was how I felt. I didn't need to be anything other than myself. It was enough that I had committed to it, and no matter how scared I was, I did it anyway. Nobody's perfect, and that's just amazing. Here are my final thoughts on embracing imperfection to be successful and happy. Stop comparing yourself to others. Accept your body as it is. Eat well and exercise to be healthy, not to be a certain size. Do something you excel at. Find your passion and talent. Maybe you're amazing working with children or repairing cars and just don't know it yet. Spend some time outside. Soak up the sun, take plenty of pictures, and treat yourself to an ice cream. Forgive yourself and others who've hurt you or you've hurt them. Go ahead and embrace imperfection. You'll be happy you did.